What's up, everybody? My name's Big Cam and welcome back to another sci-fi movie review. I've been doing some sci-fi movies recently, and just recently the most recent sci-fi one I did was two Neil Blomkamp movies, and District 9 was the first one, and then I did Elysium with Matt Damon, and this is yet another sci-fi Matt Damon film with 2015's The Martian from director Ridley Scott. What? I didn't think this was Ridley Scott at all. You know, you maybe know Ridley Scott from some little, indie movies, maybe called Gladiator, Alien, Blade Runner, Gladiator 2, Napoleon most recently, I think was one of his, 2023 was one of his most recent films, and then Gladiator 2, 2024. So what is Ridley Scott working on now? But that man has directed over 40 movies, produced 68 of them, so like Ridley Scott is one of those directors. Most of the time when I see his work, he absolutely crushes it. I didn't really love Napoleon, but it is what it is. But The Martian, rewatching that, like I remember liking it when it originally came out, and I haven't seen it in a while, maybe 10 years. This is like a decade-old movie at this point, 10-year anniversary, and it absolutely is phenomenal. It's one of those things, like he ends up stuck there, he's hurt, you really like, you feel for him, you're like, holy shit, how is he going to survive? He has to patch himself up, and then he gets into this little pod, he's able to like breathe, he's got to stitch himself up, staple his own gut, he's got to like make potatoes and farm out of his own shit, like, it's crazy, and then the crew comes back for him, and it's like all good, it's all great, it's all, like heartfelt, like, and you really feel like the stakes of the story. He comes back, it's funny. Matt Damon ends up really shining with his humor in this, as Mark Watney, and he's talking shit, and he's like, I'm the greatest botanist on this planet. You can't tell me shit from Earth. I'm the greatest. I'm also the only botanist on Mars, but I'm the greatest botanist on the planet. Like he colonizes Mars. He's like, I'm a space pirate, like, and the crew that, leaves him behind but then gets him is really great. Jessica Chastain, Michael Pena, Kate Mara, Sebastian Stan, our boy Bucky Barnes is in there as well, and CHIWETEL EJIOFOR is in there, Benedict Wong, Mackenzie Davis, Donald Glover, Nick Mohammed from Ted Lasso, also Jeff Daniels, Kristen Wiig, Sean Bean, Michael Pena. Oh, Michael Pena is so good. Oh, there's literally a line in this, though, that I had to write in my review because it's right towards the end of the movie. In Michael Pena, right, because he has to like puncture an air hole in his hand so that he can fly, as he describes, like Iron Man towards them, right? Because they're close, but he needs to get over to them, and there's like no good way that he can do this without just being lost in space. And so he's like, I'm gonna go full Iron Man. She's like, that's a terrible idea. He ends up going Iron Man. He ends up getting his way over to her. They panic for a second, but they end up being able to grab onto each other. They don't let go. They save him. They bring him back on the ship, And he goes, way to go, Iron Man. And I go, way to go, Iron Man, said by Ant-Man's best friend. And then in the shot, as he says it, they cut to Captain America's best friend, Sebastian Stan, who was Bucky, right? So it was a line said by Ant-Man's best friend. Captain America's best friend reacted, and then Matt Damon plays Shakespeare, like a play version of Loki in Thor Ragnarok. And then he's also in Thor Love and Thunder as well, doing the same character. But I'm just like, what a weird meta Marvel world we're living in this movie. Like, it just hit me when he said it. It was like, Iron Man, Captain America, Ant-Man, Loki? What is going on here? It is a touch long. I think it's like 2 hours, 20 minutes. And maybe it could be like 2 hours, but I think as far as the Ridley Scott movies goes, it's paced very well, and it has what I really want, is humor, it's stakes, it's got a good story to it, it's got some twists in it where you're like, oh, everything's gonna work out, and then the thing explodes and puts a friggin' monkey wrench into the whole thing. You're like, Jesus, it doesn't look like it's gonna work out now does it? And then by the time you get to the end, you're like satisfied. It took you on this journey, he got there, they got back, the story with him getting back, and it was emotional, heartfelt with the team and everything that's going on there. He finally gets back home, and then, you know, we see what happens to him after. They don't just like cut as soon as they get him back on the ship, and then we have to put it in our brains together what happened next, you know? Like, I like when we see a little bit of like what happened after he got back, you know, and he became a teacher, and now he's teaching the next generation on what it's like to go to Mars, and if you're stuck in a terrible situation, what you need to do to survive, you know? And of course, the guy that survived alone on Mars when they completely thought he was dead, of course that's the guy you're gonna have doing the safety protocol teachings. Like, you know, it was just great, like, ending, and then through the credits they played a little bit more. Like, I thought it was very, very well done. I really do like this movie. Overall, I gave it about 4 out of 5 stars, about an 8 out of 10. As solid as it gets for sci-fi films. It doesn't have, like, Martians in it, you know, which I thought was a little creepy. Every time he walked outside on Mars, it looked beautiful, and it looked like they shot in a desert, and poor friggin' Matt Damon's in a spacesuit in the middle of a desert. But, you know, like, there was nothing around. No snakes, no critters, no nothing. No insects, you know, like on Mars, it was just him and sand and rock. And it was just like, I don't know if I could do that. I would lose my mind real quick, you know. And he was kind of losing his mind in loneliness, talking to himself. But I don't know, I'd be much worse, you know. Like, so, I don't know. Mark Watney handled it pretty well. But overall, 4 out of 5 stars, about an 8 out of 10 is a pretty good score for me. And I'd love to hear your score on this movie down in the comment section below. And if you want to talk more sci-fi movies with me, my links for my social medias are in the description below. But I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. And if you have any movie recommendations of other sci-fi movies from me, I'd love to hear those down in the comment section below. Like this video, subscribe if you're new and you haven't already. Make sure you hit that bell so you don't miss future movie reviews and you get the notifications when they come out. Thank you guys so much for sticking around this far in the video. It really means the world to me that you supported the channel, and I will see you beautiful people in the next one. Peace!